So, this is a super important topic that I want to share with you guys so that you don't find the wrong sports handicapper. I'm talking about how to find a winning sports better. And this is so that you can follow their plays, so that you can make sure that you can get on the same side as this guy so that you can win those bets too. And I've been through so many um, handicappers, buying picks, getting picks from so many different places. And over those years, I've learned to really understand who's actually winning and who's losing and who to trust, who's kind of like doesn't seem real. And once you become a real sports handicapper professional, once you're really winning, you will understand who is also a winner just like you. And that's because the way that they play or what they're doing is actually very different than what most people are doing. It's definitely different than what you see a lot of these guys who are selling picks are doing. And that's how you actually know if somebody's winning or not. Like if I was to go up to somebody and they claim that they're a professional sports handicapper, I can talk to them, listen to how they play, listen to what they're talking about, and actually know if they're telling the truth or not. And that's something that I want to share with you today. And that's because I've been scammed so many times. You know, I started sports gambling since I was in high school. So when you're young, you're very impressionable. You're going to believe what everybody's going to tell you. And, you know, I've gotten phone calls from these handicappers. I called phone numbers. I went to websites. I tried following these guys. I bought all these plays. And, you know, they may be good for a week, a couple days, but in the long run, in the long term with them, it's just as good as me playing. And I never was really good at making those kind of plays and making those kind of decisions. So I relied on these handicappers to help me make those plays. And come to find out, they're not doing any better than I was doing at that time. And to this day, I'm still not the decision maker when it comes to making these plays. I still follow the right guys, and those are the guys that I now are my partners and that I work with to get betting, and that's what we do. So I want to share with you what you can look for in these guys online who are trying to sell you plays, to determine if they're actually real winners or not, or if they're just BSing you to sell you something. And the reality is, if you look at, there's two types of guys out there, sports professional handicappers, and there's guys that are making money with their plays by making those picks in the book, and they're making all this money doing it that way. And then there's guys who are making all their money selling you picks, right? And so they're not really making money in the sports book. They're making all their money from selling you picks. And the real winners are the ones who are making their money from making the picks. So if you take a look at somebody like Billy Walters, one of the most famous sports gamblers, probably he was inducted into the Sports Betting Hall of Fame, which is actually something new that was put together by the professional sports guys there, and his plaque is up at Circa. But he never sold picks. What he did was he always made plays, but he couldn't make the plays himself. He had other guys making the plays, and that's how he made all his money. He never sold those picks. But you take a look at somebody like Vegas Dave or Steve Stevens. They make their money by selling picks. They don't have a long history of winning in the sports book. Vegas Dave says he does, but there's actually, he says he's banned, but he's probably banned for some other reasons. I don't fully know. I don't look into it, because what I know from what I've seen already is he's not really making money off his plays. He's making money off selling picks. And it's, you can look at it this way. If you're selling, if you're selling picks, making money that way, that's a no risk. There's no risk in selling picks. You can make all this money without risking your money. But if you're making money betting, there's a lot of risk to that. So that's, you can make a lot of money selling picks versus making picks and betting it. And there's a cap also, because when you are playing and you're winning, the books cut you off. They cut you off. So now you're capped at what you can make, and they limit you. So it's a very hard thing to do once you figured it out. Winning, once you figured it out, they don't want you to play anymore. So that's kind of a transition for some people who have hit that point to start selling their plays, because that, during that time, that's how they're able to continue having those right plays and allowing those to be made, but not by them, by other people that they're sharing with others. But there's one thing that sets that apart, is that the thing about real true winning sports bettors, they have an edge. And if you don't know what the edges of the guy who is selling you these plays, then they have no edge. One of the biggest edges that you will commonly see amongst winning sports bettors is beating the closing line. And part of that importance of beating the closing line is that you have to get the same number that these guys are getting, that the winners are getting, or else you won't have as high of a win percentage as they do. That's just facts, because the more that you can beat that closing line, the more that you will have winning bets on your bet slip. So that's a huge difference. So just remember that the guys who are selling picks, they're not beating the closing line. They don't really have an edge that they've told you about. They may tout all this information. He's the best sports bettor. He's this. Does he have a history? Does he have a history of winning already? If not, he's probably somebody you don't want to trust. If you are judging him based on the car that he drives, how much money he has, that is not a good judgment on if this guy's a winning sports bettor. Basically, he just made a lot of money. He could have made a lot of money in another business. He could make a lot of money just by selling you picks. He could be renting all of that. So that's not a good judge to determine if the guy is a good sports bettor. And you could always try out his plays, and they may win and they may lose, and a lot of people drop off. But that's kind of, it sucks, because I've been through that, where I've paid $1,000 for a whole week of plays, and what a worse decision that could have been. I just lost $1,000 by handing it to this guy, and I'm losing in the sports book. It doesn't get worse than that. That's like the worst feeling, and that's why I've been on this path to help sports bettors. I don't want you guys to run into scams like that. That's why I try and put this information out there, for the public. So, because I was young, I was dumb, I lost a lot of money from all these types of scammers. I still get the calls today, and these guys are from Vegas trying to call me. Hey, what's your line today? How much can you get down? Blah, blah, blah. And it's so annoying. And these guys are just scammers, and don't give them your money. So that's how you find a winning sports bettor. You really got to figure out what their edge is. Do they have a history in winning? And, if they have that edge, tell them to explain it to you a little bit. And now take a look at what their lines are. And if you can see that they constantly beat the closing line, then maybe they actually are worth your money and talking to them. But that, just beating the closing line is not the only edge in the game. There's different edges that people have, and every professional sports bettor is different. They might have an edge in just basketball, where they notice some specific book is off, and they hammer it that way, or they do something in golf. But there's so many different professional sports handicappers that specialize in different things. And if you got a guy that's trying to sell you everything, then he probably not doesn't is not a pro in one thing. So if they're a pro in one thing, maybe they're actually good at that one thing, and that's very important. So my name is Ken with Bettor Culture. It's 4th of July, so I got my USA shirt. All right, good luck in the books.